Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Man, thank the good Lord. What atmosphere out here. Battle of the elements. Love this team. How about the defense? Love each and every one of them, man. Pats are back, baby. We got to go win one.
Pats are back, baby. America's worst nightmare. You get a couple more weeks of us. You go into February hearing from us. The New England Patriots from 4-13 to the Super Bowl. How could you have predicted this? How could you have predicted the way it happened, man? Here they are. After all of this, first-year coach, second-year quarterback, really kind of a first-year quarterback, all these new players. You've won 8 games in the last 2 seasons, and now the Patriots will play in the Super Bowl. Man, it doesn't get much better than this, folks. After a long 7-year wait, the Patriots are back. My dog's never seen them in the Super Bowl. I live down the street from an elementary school. Those second graders, man, they've never seen it. And here they are. The Pats are back. Did they do it in this glorious fashion? Not really. But they don't ask how. The people at ESPN do, and NFL Network, and whatever. But the people that make the banners, they don't ask how. They just ask how many. And for the 10th time since I've been alive, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Because I was born 6 months after they appeared in the Super Bowl, which would be, 29 years ago today. But the Pats get it done. And again, America's worst nightmare has come out to play. America was shaking when they saw this on their TV screens last night. The people of New England were buried in snow. We still are, man. 2 feet on the ground right now. And yet, we're 2 feet off the air, up in the air, off the ground, walking down 10 feet off a Beal. It's almost tough to put into words what the Patriots just accomplished, and obviously what they can still accomplish. But what you saw yesterday is the culmination, potentially, of one of, if not the greatest single-season turnaround in the history of the National Football League. You know, there are definitely some teams that have gone worst to first. You know, we saw it with the 99 Rams. We saw it with the 0-1 Patriots, 5-11 to 11-5. And you see it, you know, I mean, the Bears had a great turnaround this year. The Jags had a great turnaround this year, but they went out in the divisional and the wild card for the Jags. This was not just a great story. You know, Peyton Manning's first year to second, you go from awful to just making the playoffs. This is going from awful, bottom of the barrel bad to the Super Bowl. One of 2 teams left standing. One of 2 teams in the NFL still practicing. Like, you've got to recognize this as one of the great turnarounds in the history of the sport. Before we get there, let's talk about the game itself, because it was not anything to write home about. It was frustrating at times because there was no points, right? You know, like I was sitting there at one point in the third quarter. I said, at 10-7, I said, we're not going to see another point in this game. The way this is going, we're just not going to see one. And I know there's a lot of superstitious Patriots fans out there. I am very much one of them. I wear the same thing every game day. You know, I try to do the same thing every game day. I try to sit in the same spot, do whatever. And yesterday, in the middle of the second quarter, I'm getting way too worked up. It's 7-0, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like ready to throw things. I'm just like, I'm overstimulating. I'm overheating, and the snow is coming down. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go outside. I'm going to shovel some of this snow, even though we got a whole day's worth coming at us. I'm going to listen to Sochi and Zoe on the radio, and I'll keep in touch with the game, but I'm going to go outside. I can't be stuck in front of the TV here and watching this, even though this is all I've waited for all week. So I go out there, I'm shoveling the snow, and all of a sudden it happens. Jarrett Stidham thinks he's doing a shot put. He just does one of these, you know, instructional basketball camp chest pass, does one of those, goes behind the line of scrimmage. It should have been a touchdown. Then Elijah Ponder recovered and ran into the end zone. It should have been ruled a fumble right away so that you could go review it and take a touchdown off the board if need be. It's not. Drake May runs in for the only Patriots touchdown of the game. And so y'all know I'm convinced at that point. Y'all know I'm convinced. I'll go in for halftime, but I'm staying out here. There's a blizzard hitting us right now, but I'm staying out here. And I couldn't shovel the whole time, but the entire third quarter, I'm sitting on a fold-up chair like it's a church luncheon on my back porch, sitting in the 15-degree weather with the snow coming down the entire third quarter, and then nothing happens. Patriots take the lead, but there's no real scoring other than that field goal. There's no scoring at all. And so I'm like, I go inside, I take off my boots, I rip off my gloves, and I tell my fiance, it's one of those days. Nothing's going to work. Nothing is going to work. Just sit there, watch it, listen on the radio, but none of this extra crap is going to work. And it didn't. But the Patriots still won. And all 10 of their points were scored when I was outside, sitting in the middle of a blizzard. And if that's what it takes for the Patriots to get to the Super Bowl, that's what it takes for the Patriots to get to the Super Bowl. And we will talk about what it took. We'll talk with Mike Debate at 1:30 here, because of course this is the Wicked Boston Show, by the way. We're live on YouTube, as we are every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then available wherever you get those podcasts as well. So I know I've got a lot of new people to the channel this week. Probably get some new people watching today. That's when we're on lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, because right about now, they're getting warmed up at EEI and specifically the Sports Hub to tell you that this Patriots team actually isn't that good and that they got really lucky. So you might as well be watching ESPN. If you don't want that, then you can come over to us, the Wicked Boston Show, on the Rogue Media Sports Network. But I do want to share one great story before I get into more of this game, because like I mentioned, it's been a really great week of growth for the channel. You guys like when I was going after ESPN. I appreciate those of you who commented positively on that. A lot of people saying they subscribed. The numbers certainly bear that out. A lot of you guys subscribed. And as we actually started the show today, 5,280 subscribers. Take that, Denver. Take that. That number was just plastered all over whatever they're calling the Broncos Stadium all week and all year. That's just as many subscribers as the Wicked Boston Show. But I gotta shout out my dude Rysh 26. RYSH 26. Pats fan, this is what he commented the other day. Pats fan living in Denver saw that Ticketmaster did, the geo-locking, the limiting, and immediately bought some tickets to represent. First NFL game I'm seeing in person, is what he said. And I had to follow up in the comment like, hell yeah, brother. That kicks so much ass. And he says this morning, it was a religious experience, man. So many Pats fans too. You got a sub from me. So shout out to Rish, whatever it is. Shout out to you. First game in person. I will say there's usually more points than that, as you can probably tell by now. But what a game in a weird way, right? Not what a game in like memorable, Super Bowl 49 kind of way. What a game in like, did that really happen kind of way. 10-7, the Pats get it done with only scoring one touchdown. It looked like early in the ball game that this Stidham thing was just going to be Cam Schlittler part 2. What he did to the Red Sox in the playoffs. This unknown guy is going to come up and shove it down your throat. And after the first quarter, they couldn't get anything. Even when the snow was holding off, they couldn't get anything going. Neither could the Patriots. It was all kinds of an ugly game, and that is not going to tamper what the national media says about this team. I don't think really anything was going to do that this week. But it was just another way to win a football game, man. And I know I'm going to sound like Ryan Russillo a little bit, but I'm coming out so impressed by this Patriots team, even in a game like this. At 10-7, it just shows that they will do whatever it takes to win a game. And game manager is like this no word for a quarterback, but how good a game manager is your head coach? Mike Vrabel flat out coached Sean Payton in that game. Really from pillar to post, but especially in the second half, man. He played ball security. He played field position. He played the clock. The first drive of the second half of the Patriots only ends up in a field goal, but they used 9 minutes? It just kept the ball out of their hands. The Patriots had the ball for 21 of the 30 minutes in the second half. You almost don't need to score, as evidenced by this. Man, if you don't have the ball, it's really tough to score. And the Patriots just played the situation. They played the game. And, people are going to talk about, oh, look how lucky they got. They played in a blizzard in the second half. Yeah, they took the lead during that blizzard. And whatever, they had to play in it too. It's not like the Patriots have this insane advantage when it snows. If a dome team was coming to Foxborough, then they might have a slight advantage. But most of these guys have never played in snow either. You think Christian Gonzalez was playing in a ton of snow? Drake May in North Carolina? No, man. So whatever excuses they have, they can shove it. The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl, and it has pissed off everyone. Everyone. I'm looking at the timeline yesterday, and it's all about these Bills fans crying of oh, man, look what the NFL was robbed of. The Bills win this matchup with the Patriots 10 times out of 10. Really? Because then it would be in Foxborough, and the snow was much worse here than it was in Denver. This would have been virtually unplayable in Foxborough yesterday, which is where the Bills game would have to be. So are we gonna stick by that? Or are we gonna rethink that? Because in a 50-degree weather game last weekend, Josh Allen turned the ball over 4 times. So yeah, I would probably pump the brakes on that a little bit. I probably would if I was a Bills fan. The Broncos fans certainly got in a tizzy. The Broncos media got in a tizzy. Vic Lombardi, one of their talk show hosts after the game yesterday, oh man, just couldn't contain the tears.
The Patriots were a better team than the Broncos.
It's funny because it sounds like sour grapes. I don't think the better team won this football game.
I don't think so either.
I think the better team was handed this football game, or the Patriots were in that situation.
Unfortunately, the Broncos lost this one more than the Patriots won it.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad. So sad. You guys should apply for a job at ESPN, man. The Patriots didn't win it. The Broncos lost it. Yeah, you guys nailed it. That was Darren McKee, was the other guy who was trolling all week about how great Stidham was and that he's better than Drake May. And that's just, but it's funny when the trolls then go to sour grapes. In what way was this game handed to the Patriots that we didn't already know about before the game? Right? You want to say it's Jarrett Stidham out there instead of Bo Nix. Did that play a part? Abso-freaking-lutely it did. I think it changes how both teams coach the game if Bo Nix is in there, but certainly Bo Nix gives the Broncos a better chance to win than Jarrett Stidham, but we knew that going in. So what happened in that game where the Patriots were handed the game? Because it snowed? They had to play in the snow too. They were missing kicks. They missed just as many kicks as Denver did. So I'm like, what happened? How were they given the game? There was no BS call that went their way. There was no extreme act of God that affected the Broncos and not the Patriots in this game. So just tell me, how were they handed the game? Sometimes the better team doesn't win. And Denver played pretty well defensively, right? So did the Patriots, though. And they were getting home on the quarterback even when the snow was falling and it's tougher to get there. But yeah, they were just handed it. The football gods just handed the Patriots the game by having a blizzard in the second half. Yeah, sure. Because it really looked easy for the Patriots offense. But yeah, they got a distinct advantage. And we got to talk about Drake May, because it all comes back to Drake May. The haters will look at it and they'll say, lucky, lucky, lucky. Guy gets the Super Bowl by throwing for 86 yards in the AFC Championship game. And that is true. He did throw for 86 yards. And it is true that he didn't look all that sharp even before the snow started to come down. That's all true. But what I think is really poetic is that Drake May did it with his legs. You know, that's something he's obviously been a weapon at all year. And yet it's something that is probably going to prevent him from being the NFL MVP. Because for some reason, when we look at it through the quarterbacks, we don't take that into account. We don't take the 35 first downs he rushed for in the regular season. We don't accept his rushing touchdown numbers because Matthew Stafford doesn't run. He ran for like 1 yard this year. I think he had 1 first down with his legs the entire year. So then we can't even bring it in the discussion, right? The Patriots run the ball at the goal line, including with Drake May. Matthew Stafford throws 15 1-yard touchdown passes, and that is going to be the reason he gets the MVP. That's going to be the reason. First team All-Pro quarterback wins the MVP every year. So Stafford's probably going to win it. But yet, when it comes down to the conference championship, there's a moment late in that game, Rams and Seahawks, where there was a running lane open. It was that 4th and 4 inside the 10. There was a running lane open for Matthew Stafford. He didn't take it. He threw it. It was incomplete because he doesn't run. Drake May, at the goal line, inside the 10, rushes for the team's only touchdown. And when no points are going to be had at the end of the game, and you need one more first down to put this thing on ice, Drake May uses his legs.
That's how you do that! 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 That's how you do that!
That is how you do that. So give Matthew Stafford the MVP award because we're not taking rushing into account. Go ahead. The Patriots are going to the Super Bowl because Drake May can run. The LA Rams are not going to the Super Bowl in part because Matthew Stafford can't. Most valuable player. That's what Drake May is. Even when he throws for 86 yards, he gives you 2 running plays that essentially win you the game. They don't ask how. They just ask that you get there. And the Patriots are there. They're going because of what Drake May can do. And by the way, love that we had an iconic moment for Christian Gonzalez, who is clearly the second best player on this team, maybe the first at times. He's that good, all-pro corner, and he's not really talked about a lot nationally. He'll be talked about a lot in the next 2 weeks because you got one heck of an assignment, Gonzo, with Jackson Smith and Jigba. But he's had those before. He's had big assignments before. He's been awesome. This playoff, he's been on fire. He blew a coverage on that deep ball to, who was it, Marvin Mims that set up the Cortland Sutton touchdown. And then he gets the iconic moment later in the game, picking off Jarrett Stidham, that essentially ends the game. The Patriots just get one more first down, victory formation, and there they go. They're off to the Super Bowl. Doesn't get much better than this. And Patriots fans, you got to feel like you are all the way back, because all people are going to be talking about on a national media level for the next 2 weeks is how lucky the Patriots were. How somehow they still haven't played anybody, which again is a heck of a mark on the league if they haven't played anybody. The way they set up their schedules and the fact that a team can win, 17 games to this point and have not played anybody and will play in the Super Bowl without having played anybody. That's a bad mark on the league if that's true, which it's not. But we need to seriously reconsider the structure of this league if that's the case. But your defense had gotten you to this point, and your defense got you over the hump. 10-7. And how about the play that not enough people are talking about is the blocked field goal, the tipped field goal. Because you're talking about a guy who, Leonard Taylor, who was cut by the Jets in October. And now he makes a play to get the Patriots to the Super Bowl. The dude was elevated off the practice squad Saturday night. And he's making a game-defining play the next day. And the Pats are off to the Super Bowl to face an old Jets quarterback in Sam Darnold. We will talk plenty about the Seahawks this week and next. But today is for the Patriots and this remarkable turnaround. And Drake May putting his balls on the table, man, calling his own number on that 3rd and 6. Didn't even tell his offensive line he was doing that. Didn't tell his tight end, didn't tell his running back, just kept the ball. Everyone went one way. Drake May diagnosed the defense, saw that it was going to be a one-on-one on the outside, and takes it to the first down marker. Ball game. It's those little plays. It's not usually a game-winning touchdown in overtime. It's not a 50-yard bomb. It's not a pick six. It's not one of those flashy, sexy plays that's going to get you all the highlights and on all the NFL films. It's those plays. It's getting a finger on a kick. It's calling your own number to get a one-on-one matchup, diagnosing the defense. You know, it's the ball that hangs up there for Christian Gonzalez to pick off. It's the fact that the Patriots, held the Broncos to 30 rushing yards the entire game. In a snowstorm, you held a team that you basically tied one hand behind their back. But that'll be because, the Broncos now magically suck. They can't run the ball because their quarterback is out, right? Right. That's it. But again, what you have here is one of the top 2 or 3 greatest turnarounds in the history of the NFL. And if they win the Super Bowl, then I think you have to talk about it as the best. Rewind 12 and a half months ago, where I was having a meltdown on this show because the Patriots won a game, because they won their final game of the regular season. I was flipping out because they cost themselves the number 1 pick in the draft. 12 months later, we're talking about them playing in the Super Bowl, man. Just take that into account. They're the second team in the history of the league, by the way, to lose to a team that had the number 1 pick this next season. They lost the Raiders in week 1 and make the Super Bowl. It's just crazy. You got to pinch yourself, man. But it's as real as all the snow on your doorstep. Pats are back. And they're in the Super Bowl. Give me your reactions in the comment section below. Where were you watching? What did it for you? Are you going to the game? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because it's your only stop, your only lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio for the fans, by the fans. And by the way, big announcement. Wicked Boston Show next week will be in Santa Clara. We will be in and around everything going on. We'll actually be in San Francisco because that's where the media is setting up. We will be in and around everything surrounding Patriots, Seahawks, and Super Bowl 60. So you're not going to want to miss that all week long. And I'll tell you what else you're not going to want to miss. Coming up next on the show, we're going to have Sports Illustrated's Mike Debate. He joins us every Monday, and this is no different. He's going to help us break down what went right for the Patriots yesterday. And then, of course, I look ahead at the Seattle Seahawks, little old quarterback foe in Sam Darnold, who I think people are still not taking seriously enough. We're going to talk with Mike on the other side of this short break on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
Welcome back, Wicked Boston Show here on Rogue Media Sports Network. Your host, Cam Stewart here. Zach Burke behind the glass, keeping us on the air 5 days a week, live on YouTube, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio right here on the Wicked Boston Show on the day that we celebrate the fact that the Patriots are going to the Super Bowl. If you thought this was possible before this season, I'll tell you, you're crazy. You are crazy. And the more that this season goes by, and the more things this team keeps accomplishing, the more it does feel like 2001. We talked with Lonnie Paxton on the show on Friday, and he said it without me even asking. He says, this team reminds me of what we had in 01, which was like a 1 in a million team. You know, you obviously don't have the drama of Drew going down and Brady coming in and kind of building that, but you are seeing Drake May build a legacy right now, build an aura, and kind of announce himself on the scene. And what Lonnie was talking about was, you know, this is a team is a classic example of the sum being better than the whole of its. This team is a classic example of the whole being greater than the sum of its parts, you know, if I could do the expression right. But it's true. Like, this is not a team that's loaded with stars. Do they have some? Yeah. Drake May, you know, is going to be at worst the second in the MVP voting this year. Christian Gonzalez, all pro last year. You know what I mean? So he's a terrific player. But then you've got dudes. You've got dogs. You've got guys who have put it together, right? Like, this defense has been put together. No one was psyched up about Robert Spillane or even Milton Williams. You know, it was like, well, that's an overpay, highest paid player in Patriots history. Those guys were humongous, and we'll see what happens with Spillane. Those guys were huge. You know, Stephon Diggs, a ton of question marks around him. He ended up becoming your best receiver and a 1,000-yard guy. You know, there's questions about Ramondre earlier this season. He's answered the critics pretty well. You know, there were times this season where the team couldn't run the ball. They've done that to a perfectly great degree in the postseason and did it once again yesterday. There was times where we didn't know if they could stop the run in about December. They stopped the run pretty well yesterday. And here they are, man. They just keep going. And that's what they did in 2001. Like, that was not a team that was chock full of stars. You know, there were some guys that we would come to find out would be really good players, right? Richard Seymour, you know, even Mike Vrabel. You know, that was actually a pretty big one. We didn't know if he was a stud yet. And it was a lot of, you know, that was a team that was choosing to be introduced as a team because I don't know if they would have got a crowd pop with individual intros, right? That's not the real reason, but, you know, you could see it with this team. And by the way, that 01 team, for as clutch as Brady was and as great as he became, that was a team that struggled for offense in the postseason. right? They played in the blizzard in the divisional round. They won 16-13. They were down 13-3 in the fourth quarter. They go to Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship, and Brady gets hurt, but Bledsoe's this, former All-Pro, Pro Bowl quarterback. Is coming in to back him up. I think they scored one offensive touchdown in that game. They had the weird block kick and lateral to Antoine Harris. They had a punt return touchdown, and they had that. In the Super Bowl, they were up 17-3 and then stalled out for almost half the game before the game-winning drive. You don't need to put up 40 points every game. You don't need the quarterback to throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks for it to be an impressive playoff run. And what we have right now is a very impressive playoff run. The first team in the history of this league to beat 3 top 5 defenses to get to the Super Bowl. It's happened now. So for all that crap you've heard already and all the crap you're going to hear for the next 2 weeks about how lucky the Patriots were and are, because look at the quarterbacks they've faced. Look at the teams that their quarterback has faced. Nobody has beaten 3 top 5 defenses to get to the Super Bowl until now, until the New England Patriots, until Drake May. Stick that in your cap for the next 2 weeks before the Patriots and the Seahawks square off in the Super Bowl. Let's bring on our expert, our Monday expert, Mike Debate of Sports Illustrated, joining the Wicked Boston show now as the Patriots are on to the Super Bowl. Mike, I've asked you this a bunch, but I got to ask again. Does that still feel weird to hear? We said it after the playoff berth, the divisional championship, going to the AFC Championship game. Does it feel weird to hear that in the year of our Lord now, 2026, the New England Patriots are going to play for the Super Bowl?
Who would have thought it, Cam? Who would have thought it? At the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people were looking at the New England Patriots and saying, you know what, maybe they got a chance. Maybe they got an opportunity to win 8, 9 games. Maybe they could possibly get to 10 with this schedule and turn some heads. And then, we'll really be making an awful lot of headway. And then we'll really show the world that we're back on the map. This was a lot of what I was hearing from Patriots fans earlier this season. I picked them to win 9 games. I thought they had the opportunity to do it with the roster they put together and with the combination of the schedule. But to do what they're doing, 14-3 in the regular season, they've got the 5th-ranked defense in the league coming in with the Los Angeles Chargers, and they take care of them. They've got the top-ranked defense in the Houston Texans coming into their house, and the Patriots get by, and they take care of the Texans. Then the Denver Broncos. You got to go out. You got to fly to Mile High. Jarrett Stidham all of a sudden is the second coming of Nick Foles, and he's going to dismantle the New England Patriots the way Foles did in the Super Bowl, which, was really an interesting narrative because Foles didn't destroy the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He won the game, but they were not dismantled in that game. But another conversation for another day. They weren't supposed to win that game, and then they come out and they do it. This New England Patriots team is very good at defying the odds, and I don't think anybody can question that. They've done it with grit. They've done it with determination. They've done it with heart. But most importantly, Cam, they've done it with sound fundamental football. They really have never forgotten the fundamentals. And you heard yesterday on the CBS broadcast, situational football, knowing where the ball needs to be, knowing where the players need to be, and knowing exactly what needs to happen in any given moment on the field. Drake May prove that with just over 2 minutes remaining in the game. And he goes off and he runs for a 7-yard run on a naked bootleg that no one saw coming, not even his teammates. That, to me, shows how prepared this team is each and every week. So tip of the cap to Mike Vrabel, a big tip of the cap to the players, but everyone in the Patriots organization, including ownership in the front office, should really be savoring this one right now because they really had a special run.
And it's still going, Mike.
And it's not over yet. Yeah, exactly.
It's still going. But I do want to ask in that vein, we've seen great turnarounds. And, obviously with us, the 01 Patriots come to mind, 5-11 to 11-5 and winning the Super Bowl. We've heard some with, the Colts and Manning's first and second year, they make the playoffs. The Jags this year, they made the playoffs. We're talking about a 4-win team, back-to-back years of 4 wins. One that had a fan base melting down last year because they won the last game of the season and lost the number 1 pick. That team is now in the Super Bowl, not just the playoffs, but playing for the whole thing. Where does this rank already as among the great NFL turnarounds ever?
Well, I mean, you got to put it up there. I mean, there's no question about it. When you look at the way this team was structured and the turmoil that they entered the season with the last 2 seasons, an acrimonious exit from Bill Belichick in his tenure here in New England, a lot of vitriol being tossed from both sides. And really, I think just a bad way to pull back the curtain on the end of what was such an indelible dynasty here in the NFL for a number of years, for 2+ decades. Brady and Belichick were held as the standards in terms of a cohesive unit and a lethal combination that no one could penetrate other than themselves. You learn that there was a lot of self-sabotaging going on in that era, and it really kind of cast a pall, I think, on what they did for this generation of Patriots fans. Last season, we've talked about it. Gerard Mayo, I think, gave 110% of everything that he had, but just an insurmountable situation for him to be able to succeed in. That didn't work out. Robert Kraft realized it, pulls the plug on him after only 1 year at apparently a severe financial detriment to his club, but he realized that it was the right thing to do. And you bring in Mike Vrabel. You take his abilities as a coach. You take his mentalities as a player. And you take his warmth and his ability to reach people as a person. That all combines into one, and all of a sudden you start stacking this team with players that buy into that concept, that understand that if you're going to win, you need to be that one band, one sound, to quote Drumline. That's something that I see in this team so often, and you saw it on the field yesterday. You saw it in the locker room as this team was celebrating, everyone giving each other their laurels and their credit for the Patriots making it thus far. To me, I think that's been the key for this New England Patriots team. Cohesion. I think it's been a brotherhood, a decisiveness among these guys to play the best football they can, but also understanding their roles. Every player on this team is clear of their role. I can't say that for the last 4 or 5 Patriots teams I've seen in Foxborough. That to me is the big difference in making that leap from a 4-13 club that was trying to find its identity to a 14-3 club right now, going in, riding a 3-game postseason win streak and wanting to bring home a 7th Lombardi trophy to New England. It really is remarkable.
And I do love the kind of comparisons with Vrabel and Belichick. You know, that's something that we heard a lot, you know, when he took the job, right? You know, and,
right.
and I've pushed back of like, Vrabel's not a Belichick disciple, right? Like he never coached under him. He's not doing the same strategy.
Right.
In fact, his mentality is different in a lot of ways. Now he did play for him and won, and so of course that does play a part. But like, look at what Belichick was coming from. You know, kind of an unceremonious couple of exits in Cleveland and with the Jets, and to some degree with the Patriots because he was following Parcells, and then he gets this chance, the second chance to be a head coach, and makes the most of it. Vrabel, so far, so good. 1 year in as the second chance, and he is in the Super Bowl. So I do want to have you expound on that a little bit in terms of how did this team take the identity of Mike Vrabel, and why was he such a huge difference from last year to this year?
Well, I think if you go back to what Mike said when he was hired here and his introductory press conference and hearing some of the catchwords and sitting in Gillette Stadium and listening to what Mike was saying, he used words like accountability. He used words like teamwork, camaraderie, but he also made sure that this team was going to be fundamentally sound. He says, I see a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. We're not going to do the blank that gets you beat. And I think you can all fill in the quote there, but it's a family show. I'm going to be respectful to you and your listeners, Cam. But to me, that is exactly what this team bought into. They looked at it and said, this was a team last year that was not fundamentally sound. Special teamers were out of place. They were missing tackles. Very uncharacteristic of a Bill Belichick-led team that special teams was really supposed to be their hallmark and something that he hung his hat on. There were receivers that were running incorrect routes, running backs that weren't running through their cadences. And then a quarterback that always looked like he was, languishing a lot and trying to get the job done. And unfortunately, for someone like a Mac Jones, it didn't work out here in New England for him. Little by little, you start to see the pieces get put into place. Drake May is drafted, and you start to see little pieces here and there of what he could become. You bring in someone like a Josh McDaniels, who is a quarterback guru and knows how to nurture the type of talent that Drake had, and bringing him to heights that, I don't think any one of us saw him reaching in just year two. Drafting someone like a Travion Henderson, who gives you an explosive playmaker at the running back position, re-signing guys like Hunter Henry that are such high character, high moral guys in that locker room, but also productive on the field, and then investing so much into that defense and making them a fearsome unit again. Caleb Chiasson, Milton Williams, worth every penny the Patriots signed these guys for. So you understand that they're complementary pieces to guys like Christian Barmore and Christian Gonzalez, who are the two quote-unquote stars in that defense leading up to this year. Those building blocks all build something special. And to me, I think it all begins with what Vrabel had to say earlier this year. Be formidable. Make sure that you're taking accountability for every snap that you take on a football field, and then making sure that you're cleaning up all of those things that you did poorly last year. They bought into it. Credit to Mike. He brought guys in that knew how to do it and that were willing to do it. And if there was an ill fit, he wasn't afraid to cut bait with you. A lot of people forget that. Guys like Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, they were parted with during the season.
Jonathan Jones,
bold
Wise
moves
in the offseason.
Exactly. Yeah. Bold moves for this team, both in the offseason and into the regular season. But bottom line, Mike was not afraid to make those moves in the best interest of the football team. And that's why I think you're looking at this team having the success that it's had. They bought into his concept because they were the right players, not necessarily the best players out there, but the right ones for his system. That's what builds championships. And the Patriots are doing it again, just like they did 20 years ago.
I'm hearing some Bill Belichick, some Herb Brooks in there. That's if you're going to be a head coach, it's probably not a bad two guys to pick from.
Right.
When you're talking about in terms of how you're running your team. Let's talk about yesterday for a minute, because I don't, as much as I loved it, right, as much as I love the outcome, I don't know that impressive would be the word that I would use about pretty much anything in that game. But what impressed you from the Patriots yesterday, or maybe just the breadth of this postseason run so far?
Well, if you're talking about what impresses you, you've got to start with the defense. I mean, this defensive unit clearly came in with a decree and with a motivation to pressure Jarrett Stidham. And they did that. 35.1% of his dropbacks, they pressured Jarrett on, and they had a lot of success. They left him flummoxed a lot of times. 1 for 10 with 4 yards with 2 turnovers when he was pressured by the Patriots defensive front four. His numbers were slightly better with overall pressure, but when you look at that 4-man rush, which we were told was going to be stymied by a Broncos offensive line that was essentially teaching master classes and being able to resist that, Patriots found a way to penetrate it. And what I really loved is that the defensive backfield also contributed with solid man coverage. You got to give them a lot of credit. 6 of 15 for 36 passing yards, 2 turnovers when the Patriots were in man coverage. They got contributions from all 3 levels. And they also, whenever they needed to, they over-deployed the blitz, and they sent that after Jarrett Stidham, and he had difficulty picking up a lot of it. It's one of the reasons why the fumble, the backward pass, that whole fiasco happened, was because Jarrett did get confused with an over-deployed blitz. That led to the Patriots' only touchdown drive. So when you look at defensively what this Patriots team did, they really carried all 3 units on their back yesterday and said, you know what? All you have to do is make a couple of plays, do your job a couple of times, because we got this. And they did it.
And they, at the end of the day, they don't ask how. They don't ask how you get there. I mean, the people at ESPN might, but just in general, we don't ask how you get there, just that you get there. And I think you brought up a good point about the Broncos offensive line too, because like I bought into that, looking at all the numbers and the metrics and everything. And then in the middle of the game yesterday, I'm thinking, maybe I could take into account that Bo Nix is pretty good at getting outside the pocket, and Denver deploys that a lot, and that, maybe it is easier to get pressure, or at least in the metrics after the game, to get pressure on the quarterback when it's Jarrett Stidham and not Bo Nix. But nobody's going to sit here and tell you that wasn't, a nice draw for the Patriots. to have
Right.
Jared
Yeah.
instead of Bo Nix. No one will tell you otherwise. But looking ahead now, as we look to the Super Bowl, I know you were probably doing some of your analysis last night during that Seahawks Rams game. I just wanted to get your initial thoughts on the Seahawks, on a great reclamation project for the second year in a row for Sam Darnold and what that team brings.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, Seattle is a tougher draw, I think, than the Rams would have been. And that's no disrespect to Los Angeles, who I think had a solid football club. And believe me, I mean, they would have given the Patriots their own, difficulties in that situation. But Seattle's defense is playing at another level right now. I'll get into them in just a minute. But you mentioned Sam Darnold and the growth that you've seen in him as a quarterback. And he continues to look more comfortable. He continues to look more confident in the pocket and when he needs to roll out. And Seattle, again, has kind of wrapped themselves around what he does well. Jackson Smith-Njigba is one of the best wide receivers in the country, in the league, and he's going to continue to show that. Kenneth Walker and running the football, and they've got so many guys that can help be effective weapons. The Seattle offense is going to give this Patriots defense all they can handle. And I think the Pats defense is expecting that. They're ready for it. So they've got 2 weeks to prepare for it. It's going to be very interesting to see what type of chess match is going to be going back and forth there. But the defense, to me, really is what stands out to this club. And Mike McDonald has done such an amazing job of rebuilding a fearsome, not just a formidable, but a fearsome Seattle defense. And with the way the Patriots offensive line has continued to struggle, and even yesterday they had their struggles, Drake was pressured on 37.9% of his dropbacks, yesterday, sacked 5 times. The Patriots were able to get out and run the football a little bit more effectively, but Will Campbell continues to have his struggles. Nick Bonito really, I think, got the better of that matchup. Morgan Moses did yield the sack to Jonathan Cooper, so you do have to be mindful of the difficulties that offensive line has had. If I'm heading in and that's an area where you're asking me, does it worry me? That's the one that worries me. So that's the one that the Patriots are going to have to be diligent on the next couple of weeks. Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, Doug Marrone need to do a great job of coaching up this line and helping Will Campbell. Remember, he is Will Campbell. He is, a top 5 pick in the league this year. He is the best offensive lineman in this class. You need to remind him of his greatness a little bit, I think, in order to get some of that swagger back, because it's so easy to lose it when you're going up against a gauntlet of defenders. And the last 3 weeks he has. But he needs to be reminded that he's every bit as good as these guys and can withstand everything that they put against him. Now, whether or not that's going to shake out on the field that way, that's a conversation for another day. But he's got to believe that in order for him to succeed. And I think the Patriots need to do a good job of reminding him of that this week.
Okay, so that kind of did lead. I was thinking, having this thought with 2 weeks to prepare for this. Do you think there's any chance that they shake it up? Do you think there's any chance they try Vidarian Lowe, who pinch hit really well for Will Campbell in December, with the extra week to prepare? Do you think there's any chance at that?
Any other team, I would say no. You have your starters entrenched, and they're going to go with those guys. They're going to ride with the guys that got them there. But Mike Vrabel has proved all throughout the season that he's not afraid to make the moves, the little moves, the big moves, in order to do what's best for the football team. If he starts to look in practice and thinks that maybe, these areas aren't repairable in the time that they have to prepare, and I think anything is on the table. So I wouldn't be shocked to see anything happen over the course of the next 2 weeks. Now, my gut reaction tells me they still go with Will Campbell in this situation. It tells me they still go with Jared Wilson in that situation. A lot of people have been clamoring for Ben Brown to come in and play a little left guard, try to solidify and give some veteran leadership to that left side. But I think the Patriots stay with what they got. But at the same time, it's going to be incumbent on what those coaches see in practice and what they see behind the scenes, and also what they're seeing on film from the Seahawks, to determine if that's their best matchup. If they think that they're better off going elsewhere, I will say this, and I'm confident to say it, Patriots coaches will not hesitate to make that move if they feel it's in the best interest of the football team.
Yeah. Okay. And there is the very real possibility that Will Campbell's not 100%, right? Like to get the MCL, I know it's not the ACL, you can get back to those in a couple of weeks, but it might be a situation where you say, he's just not. Like, we thought he could be able to do this, this, and this, and he just didn't in this game. So that might be that. So it might not just be that he looks like he's really struggling out there and he was kind of just diving at a couple of these guys. It might just be not 100%, and they go to that. That's really fascinating. And I got to say, Mike, as we talked about how great this turnaround is and how unexpected this is, I couldn't have laid down money under any odds last year if you gave me, hey, will you be talking in a year from now about potentially playing Vidarian Lowe in the Super Bowl? Like, is subbing in Vidarian Lowe to make you feel better?
It's amazing, isn't it?
Super Bowl. Yeah, I never would have saw that coming. I know you were starting to churn on the Seahawks and get some more stuff out there. So let the people know where they can find it and maybe what you've got in the oven on this toasty Monday afternoon.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. After you finished, digging out, if you're in this area, hopefully everybody is safe and well from the storm over the weekend. You can definitely check out all of the great work that our writers do over at New England Patriots on SI. We'll be covering this game in depth. We've already got a number of articles out there, a lot still more to come. And we're going to quickly pivot to Super Bowl 60 and the formidable Seattle Seahawks that are going to be joining the Pats in Santa Clara, California. This is going to be a tremendous game, and I know we're looking forward to that. So we'll have a lot of coverage, very soon with the Super Bowl. But we're going to take a couple of days to enjoy this victory over the Broncos and break it all down for you from every possible angle before we take our leave and move on to our coverage of the Super Bowl. And thank you, Cam, for giving us a platform here each and every week to come out and talk New England Patriots football. We love doing it, and we're so glad that heading into February, there's still a game that we're going to be able to talk about. Can't ask for more than that, man.
I know, right? I know. And, man, you guys keep churning out the good content. We'll keep making space for you. In fact, I'm looking forward to possibly talking to you next Monday as well, even though we're not reviewing a game. But, Mike, appreciate the time as always. I know your phone's been blowing up today, so I do appreciate you taking the time as you do every Monday. And let's start breaking. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's start talking about Patriots Seahawks round 2. Mike, always appreciate the time.
Always my pleasure, my friend. Take care. Have a great.
Oh, sorry. Cut him off a bit. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. There he goes. Mike Debate. Sorry, trigger finger getting him off the air. He's all good with it. Thank you to Mike Debate, man. That is some good breakdown for, a game that on the outside didn't look like it had a lot to it. And I know we're just getting excited about Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl 60. We will have that coverage for you all week. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, live on YouTube, and then available wherever you get your podcasts as well. That's basically going to do it for us today. I'm Cam Stewart. Zach Burks behind the glass, keeping us on the air from 1 to 2 every weekday live on YouTube. We might need to shift the time next week. Probably shouldn't say it until I know for sure, but we'll be down in San Francisco. The Rogue Media Network team will be down there. So I will be down there doing Pete's show in the morning, then my show in the afternoon. So I think what we might do is shift it back a little bit more towards like late afternoon, early evening dinner time. So that way we can get kind of the most that's coming in from the West Coast to do for a daily show here on the Rogue Media Network. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow on another edition of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stewart.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farms offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.